Today's news, my body was not mine, but the US military's.
This is an article written by a gentleman who went to Songtan, Korea, featured on Politico.com. Songtan is a place where both of us have been many times. It was not that far from our hometown in Suwon. It's where Osan Air Force Base is located. And I will link below a couple of videos where we spent time in Songtan so you can see the street that this gentleman is talking about when he refers to the nightclubs on the second floor, the different places with the names in the article. Go click that link if you'd like to read something very interesting about a different side of Korea. I know that you have very strong thoughts about this. We will get to those in just a second. The first thing I'd like to get to is I've been to these clubs before I met you. I used to run with a group of guys for a short period of time in Korea when I first got there in 2008 that I'm proud to say I'm not friends with anymore. One time we went and hung out in a couple different clubs that were named in this article because it was a former friend's birthday. This is how it works when you go into one of these places. First of all, they're all painted black walls when you enter. Okay. There's some sort of stage or somewhere where girls dance, but then there's just a lot of girls mingling around. You can buy a beer for yourself for 3,000 won, but if you want to buy a beer for the girl, it's 10,000 won, or 10 bucks. And the price is so the girl can get paid. That's really what it is. Most of these girls are not Korean, they are imported. A lot of them are from the Philippines. And you see them during the day when you walk around Songtan Main Street Shopping Center. And you know that they're not Korean because they don't look Korean, they don't look the part. And it's just a very hard environment to see, especially if you just get there for the first time. I mean, military is mostly men, and men sort of just don't give a shit about this sort of thing. But if you're a woman, and a lot of women watch these videos, and you go to Songtan, so say you're visiting Korea and you just get there and you go to Songtan and you see some of these people walking around during the day because you don't go into the club at night, something just doesn't feel right. And that's the environment, and that's the only way I can describe it.
This article is actually a lengthy article. It's 4 pages long, and it goes in depth with the history of comfort women, the history of sexual prostitution in Korea and sexual entertainment. And then it goes in depth into the problem, and the problem is not prostitution. Because prostitution, I could make a valid argument that it should be legal and acceptable. As a woman, you should be able to do what you want with your own body. The problem is not prostitution, the problem is sex trafficking. And that is the big problem, because this is not necessarily Koreans that are at these bars. These are, as you mentioned, girls from the Philippines. They are also Russians and people from other parts of Asia who are brought to Korea with promises and hopes of having a job and making a good living.
More money than they can make in their home country.
And then they end up getting stuck in a situation where they are indebted to these people who own these clubs and bars, and maybe they get a room or they share with a bunch of people and they have to eat ramen. Maybe they are forced to actually prostitute themselves because a lot of them come as singers and dancers, but if they can't meet their bar tab for the month or whatever, maybe they have to prostitute and sell their bodies in order to pay that bar tab and pay their voyage there. And anytime that you're indebted to somebody in this sort of scenario, they can always change it, especially if you don't speak the language, like many of these girls coming over. I mean, I know that I didn't speak Korean whenever I went to Korea. People take advantage of girls in those situations. In fact, I had somebody try to take advantage of me because I didn't speak Korean properly, but thankfully I knew some people and were able to make connections because of that.
If you're a fairly thin blonde girl walking around the streets of Korea, chances are at one point you will get approached by a Korean man asking if you're a Russian.
I have had that situation at least once.
Way more than once. It happens to just about everyone who has the appearance similar to you. If you're Swedish, forget it. You're Russian.
I would go into the local market and guys would offer me a drink and ask if I was Russian. It was awkward and
it used to make you feel like shit, and it would possibly ruin the night when we were out. And it didn't happen a lot, but it happened enough where if I saw something in your demeanor had changed, I knew what happened before I even had to ask you.
Yeah.
We make a lot of videos about Korean dramas and K-pop, Korean entertainment. We also live there for a long time and have this perspective. I think most people who do K-pop reaction videos or just like Korea don't necessarily have, or even if you live there, you don't go to Songtan that much because maybe you just want to stay away from anything American because you like Korea for Korean things, and Songtan isn't really as Korean an environment as most other places around Korea.
Sexual slavery, sexual exploitation, human trafficking is terrible. It's evil. It needs to be wiped out. It's wrong. It should not happen. And I think that there's a whole lot of things that the Korean government and the American military could do on top of what they are already doing, because they are already doing some things to take measures to, for example, protect the women from sexually transmitted diseases.
Which is good.
They have screenings that they have to have. They also have the American GIs are restricted from certain places that they know that where this is going on, and they do walk around, military police, and check these places to make sure that there are no GIs there.
Yep.
But there are still so many things that they could do that they are not doing in these situations, and it makes me livid.
Well, I guess my point before was this isn't just a Korean problem. This is a problem in most places. I mean, look at Thailand.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Not to say anything negative about Thailand, but
Well,
you're right. Sexual slavery needs to end. We know that a lot of you like watching our videos because they're very informative about Korea. Outside of Korean entertainment, sometimes a video like this. Drop a note in the comments what's your reaction to what Stephanie said, direction moving forward, trying to solve this sort of problem, or just anything that popped into your head when you were watching this video. And click the like button. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us here at Hallyu Back. And don't forget to subscribe. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.
Bye.